Ladies, gentlemen, and others, welcome back to Boz Comics. Today, I want to talk about Batwoman. It's a new show coming up in the CW uh, superhero universe. It's funny, I don't know, are we still calling it the Arrowverse, considering that Arrow is ending and Arrow, like the replacement for Arrow? This is meant to be the replacement for it? Um, I really wonder. I guess maybe we would just have to like transition to calling it the Berlantiverse. Maybe. It just feels a little weird to keep calling it the Arrowverse. I don't know, the Suckverse, because all those shows are garbage, but the garbage that I've been invested in for a really long time, so I can't stop watching them. Except for Legends of Tomorrow. I'm really behind on Legends, but Arrow, um, and Flash, um, I guess Arrow and Flash are actually the only ones. Now that I think about it, Arrow and Flash are the only ones I really pay attention to. I used to kind of really be into Legends, in spite of its problems, which all the other shows share. But I really dropped off um, after a while. But I gave it a chance for quite some time, just because it was so much zany fun. I like the team dynamic. Um, Flash was cool in its first season. I loved the building mystery. There were some legitimately cool reveals. Trying to see where um, the show was going. When my wife realized that it was going to be a time travel show, she like lost her mind. We watched all but I think the last two episodes of the first season together, and then she uh, just kind of dropped off. She enjoyed it, but I don't remember what her reason was. But I think she was just too busy with work and she couldn't be bothered. Um, Arrow, I loved the first handful of seasons entirely. The soap opera elements inherent to the DC, not the DC, the CW shows really didn't bother me because we were dealing with a high society boy uh, coming back from his mysterious ordeal on the island of Lian Yu, right? So like I kind of bought that there would be all these like fucking dramatic or all these melodramatic elements because I just kind of felt like that was inherent to being a member of this like supremely powerful family within the high society of Star City. Um, but all the shows: Flash, Arrow, Legends, Black Lightning, Supergirl. They've all kind of just gone down the toilet. I think they all had pretty decent pilots, and I think at least half of them had really strong starts. And then they just took this like gigantic nosedive. It just seems to get worse and worse and worse. They always still have highlights for me that I can like enjoy in a vacuum. There'll be these really cool fights or these really cool character moments, but everything about the shows in general has just dropped like a stone, pretty early out of the gate. And as far as my predictions for Batwoman are concerned, nothing I have seen about this fucking show gives me any indication that it's going to be uh, anything less than a culmination, or maybe I should say a distillation of all the worst elements of the CW shows. Like everything about this shows that it's going to be like terrible special effects, um, disappointing costumes, um, really toxic feminism, often like very much bordering, if not outright crossing over into misandry. Um, Characters that never really develop. They just kind of endlessly spin their wheels. I can already see this. I can already see this like going forward. Do you know what? Do you know what? Here's the thing. All the other shows, you could see that like the characters, in spite of all their flaws with the shows, right? You could see that the characters all had like some real hangups um going into their shows. Like, we just from the preliminary material, we could see, like, Barry Allen has, like, abandonment issues and confidence issues, and wants to do everything he can in spite of his limitations. We can see that, like, Oliver Queen has, like, legitimate PTSD from his time on the island, and he's obviously like very damaged and possibly, at the very least, a little crazy. And he's struggling with issues of morality as he's going around literally putting arrows in people. Um, the legends, at the start, like, of Legends of Tomorrow, I believe, from what I remember, the whole crux of the show was that all these people that were legends were like the damaged goods of the DC TV DC universe, the CW verse. These were all like very damaged, broken people, most of them like bordering on villainy, if not outright, like reveling in it. Um, let's see. Black Lightning. I mean, yeah, like Black Lightning was more of a traditional superhero tale. It was like his biggest conflict was balancing like being a father with the call to superheroism, right? Supergirl I can't speak too much of because that was just too much toxic feminism, and I really got turned off of that pretty damn quick. I watched the first couple of episodes and there were elements to them that I enjoyed, but like the man bashing and terrible writing and like poorly implemented girl power themes, like I just was like, clearly this is not the show for me. And really, I think Supergirl. I swear that when the CW got Supergirl in its stable, right? Because Supergirl started out not part of the CW shows. It wasn't on the CW. It started out, I think, like Fox? Maybe? I honestly don't remember. But it started out like separate, and then I feel like when CW like snatched it up, they were like, "Oh fuck yeah. Like let's just do like not they look at Batwoman now and they're like, let's just do more of this. Okay? Let's do more of this nonsense. This crazy toxic feminism. Let's do more of that, but make it dark. Make it dark and brooding. Like fuck men, but fuck men from the shadows." Like, like that really just seems to be Batwoman. Misandry wrapped up in shadows and given a razor's edge. Careful not to cut yourself on all that edge. She breaks into her cousin's house and assaults a black man. Like, oh god damn. Everything about this just seems like it should be a total flop in any sane universe. But here's my other prediction: the show is going to miraculously just like continue on like forever because, um, fuck, Arrow when it concludes will have ran for 8 years. Flash is not going to end anytime soon. I I I I predict that Flash will carry on to be like the supernatural of um the Berlanti verse. That show's just going to go on forever. And the hilarious thing, if they're smart, if Grant Gustin is ever like, fuck this, I'm out, I don't want to do this anymore. They will either, if they're smart, they'll let him go. And they'll bring in Keenan Longsdale, who I think is a great actor. For those of you who don't know, he plays Kid Flash, or used to play Kid Flash on the show. If Grant Gustin ever wants to leave, they should just go full woke, and they should just like hire, like throw money at Keenan Longsdale and just be like, come on back and be the main character. And honestly, that might be kind of interesting. We could get away from the bullshit inherent in the Iris character, because Iris really ruins that show. Oh God, can we? Because we keep pretending that Iris is equal to everyone else on the Flash. Maybe what we could do is in Batwoman, we can get Iris to join up, right, and provide tech support for what the fuck, for Kate Kane and Batwoman and Kara and Supergirl. They'll all come together and they'll form like a Misandry Zord, and they'll all break through the glass ceiling and fight the patriarchy together. Like, holy shit. But Flash is gonna go on forever, and because I don't know what the deal is behind the scenes, but I guess the network has enough money to just like fail upward. And I guess because like the people in charge of the network just like doing these shows, like they just don't care about quality. Like I guess enough people watch them that they're like, this can just go on forever. We don't care. Um, so Batwoman will just now like this is the Arrow replacement. This is just gonna be a thing that will not die. Um, Ruby Rose, a lot of people don't like her. They don't think she's a good actor. I don't know that I agree. I don't think she's a great actor. I don't know that she's terrible. I don't like her. I don't like anyone who comes out and starts like denigrating an entire gender or an entire race as she has. I know that it's trendy to hate on white dudes, but like um fuck you. Like, that's just so obnoxious. There's no need for that. Yeah, I'm just gonna go out here and a lot of the CW's viewership are definitely female, but the majority of comic book fans are still male. And that's not like a sexist thing, that's just a purely like demographic kind of thing. Traditionally speaking, comic books have always been typically a male pursuit. And we're always happy to have women like in the hobby. There's nothing we love more than like an earnest female comic book nerd. They're great. They're the holy grail. One of my biggest regrets in my marriage is that I still can't get my wife to truly appreciate comic books. Um, so it doesn't matter, right? Um, if women are involved in the hobby, we love having them, but it's always been traditionally a male pursuit because it traditionally appeals to men. And even if you cram all this like toxic uh variation of feminism into your shows where men are always ineffectual, men are always bumbling idiots, men are always being lectured by women, the women are always right, the women are always super powerful when they have no reason to be. Um, why is Iris running the team on the Flash? I know the real reason is because they had no idea what else to do with her, but the fact that everyone takes direction from Iris on the Flash is one of the most obnoxious things and very emblematic of a lot of the problems with the CW verse as a whole. But you know, uh you just have like you cram all these things in and you're like, yeah, fuck the dudes, man. Fuck the dudes in the audience. We're the CW. We're woke force one. We're all about the true lady power. Okay, nobody's gonna watch that. Nobody cares. But your core audience, the core audience that you could be tapping into does not care. What you should be focusing on is trying to make a great superhero show while still having your soap opera elements that you know that the traditional CW audience like really enjoys. Or just do a real superhero show. Focus on the date. Like, don't even try to make it a soap opera. Just do traditional superhero shows. Especially when these characters have secret identities. Like, that just leads to inherent drama. It doesn't have to be relationship drama, but even where there is relationship drama, like you can do lots of stuff with that just through like focusing on superheroes and like all the things, inherent with that, the tropes inherent with that. Um but they're not going to. They're not going to. They're like we're all about the girl power. We just want to appeal to our female audience. Your female audience does not care about superheroes and they're not going to. Like but you just sit around and talk about us like we're trash, like we're garbage. You got Ruby Rose coming out like I don't care if like white dudes or like my show. I'm like, okay, thanks for telling I think like not the majority of the country's population, but like certainly like a large majority of your potential audience to go fuck themselves. That's smart. That's great business. Well done, Ruby Rose. Like you've got good looks and your presence is kind of intense. I liked her in whatchamacallit, the crossover episodes. I thought her and Kara in the crossover episodes, I think was it during Crisis on Earth X? I don't remember. Like the last crossover event they did, they had uh Batwoman appear as kind of like a backdoor pilot, and her and Kara together were really fun there. Ah, but fuck fun. We gotta smash the glass ceiling. We gotta fight the patriarchy. Um, I swear to God, if Batwoman does not just like fight a literal personification of the patriarchy at some point during like the first season, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed. Like for real. Um, but yeah, I'm just not interested in spending a lot of time watching a show that is not just going to denigrate me for being male, but also just like shit all over Batman, one of my all-time favorite superheroes and a great personal inspiration to me and many others, like shit all over his legacy by we've all seen the cringy line in the Batwoman trailer, right? Like his suit will be perfect when it fits a woman. Like, oh god. God. Well, fuck off. Fuck off. I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work. You stole all his stuff. You're stealing his aesthetic, and you're moving into his headquarters. Like, what are you fucking doing? I'm not allowed to take credit. A man take credit for a woman's work, but I will flip that shit around. No problem. It's fine, right? Because the men have the power. Because of the patriarchy. So it's all fair. It's all fair if we do it. Because all men are guilty for the crimes that have been perpetrated on us as a gender. Am I right? Oh god. I don't know. I think you know how a lot of people are saying that now that Endgame has kind of closed the door on the MCU of old, and now people are saying, like a lot of people are saying that this push for progressivism going forward in the MCU is going to be kind of the death knell of everything going forward. Um, I think we're going to see something kind of similar with the Arrowverse, because people, I think, you know, there's a large contingent of people who kept coming back to to the show, to the CW shows because of, a long-term investment like I had myself. So, we were watching Arrow, we were watching The Flash, whatever. I think taking Oliver Queen out of it, I think ending Arrow, it's going to kill the it's going to really kill the CW superhero shows. That whole universe, I think, is going to collapse on itself because they want to try to make Batwoman the face of it, and I don't think it's going to work. I could be wrong. Like I said, these shows do seem to just kind of like limp on in spite of ratings, like endlessly. But I think this is going to be an end of an era, and I think it's all going to be the worse for it, which is saying something because all this shit's been pretty bad for a really long time. So those are just my rambling thoughts on Batwoman and everything that it entails, and how much I'm dreading the show, and how it's just gonna shit all over men and shit all over Batman, and just like wallow in misandrous bullshit, and say it's all for the girl power. I don't know. I want to like the show. I will definitely watch the pilot, cringing, I'm sure, half the time, but like I want it to be good. I really want it to be good. Maybe it's one of those things where like the trailers cut together some of the worst parts, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that anyone wants to make a show that actually respects these characters. I think they just want to make a show that pushes a message. And I think it'll carry on in perpetuity, but I think it's going to be really bad. It's going to be the dead thing that just won't stay dead, you know? Uh, all right, guys. That's it for me. Talking about this show has made me need a drink, so I'm going to do that now. You take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Stay awesome.